Welcome to an incredible journey with internationally renowned lawyer of attraction, Paula Kidd Casey. Applying the skills gained over 40 years of practicing law, Paula uses facts, logic, and science to prove the validity of the law of attraction. Join Paula each week as she explores unique concepts, allowing you to rediscover the wisdom of the ancient masters, all while weaving in the science that proves magic really does happen. If you yearn for a life change or want to rediscover your passion, then share the path with Paula and begin to love your journey every step of the way.
Welcome to the Law of Attraction Radio Network. Hello, my name is Paula Kidd Casey, and I will be your host for the next hour for my program, The Lawyer of Attraction. For those of you that don't know who I am or didn't tune in last week, which is probably just about everybody, but it is my second time and they let me come back. Woohoo! So I am back and I'm so excited to share some more information with you. I have been a divorce attorney for the last 40 years, and I decided that I wanted to use my power for good instead of evil. And I've dedicated my life, the rest of my life, to sharing this information about the natural laws that help you take your life to the next level. So I'm pleased you're here, and I am very honored to be with you. I have written a book, and it came out in February this year. It's The Lawyer and the Law of Attraction. You can get it on Amazon.com. I was contacted by Jules Johnson, who owns the Law of Attraction Radio Network, about 4 months ago and asked to be interviewed. I was fortunate enough to be interviewed, and then a couple of weeks ago she asked me to host this program, and I'm so thrilled to be here, and I'm glad that you're here too. I was meditating at the first of this week, which is what I do every day, and if you don't have a meditation routine set up, I would encourage you to do so, and it doesn't take long. I use the 21-day meditation experience by Deepak Chopra and Oprah Winfrey. I love it. I call it the Oprah Chopra hour because if they ever got married, that's what her name would be. But if you haven't started a meditation experience, if you haven't started it in a habit, I would encourage you to do so. But as I was meditating, and I wasn't really thinking about the show or what I was going to be talking about, literally in like these bright lights, it showed up. You are enough. And I knew that's what I was supposed to be talking about. So I guess my higher self must be from Las Vegas because he uses these flashing lights. Last time we talked, we talked about my very first concept when I was starting on my journey to get the information where we are now. And that my concept that I really struggled with was being happy with what you are and wanting more. What we talked about is different ways for you to get happier, because the law of attraction says you only attract what you are. It doesn't attract what you want, it attracts what you are. So we need to get you to a higher frequency, one that serves you, so you will attract more of that positive emotion and options into your life. But then I thought, so is this a dichotomy? You are enough, which is what my inner self told me to talk to you about, and wanting more. Is that a dichotomy? So when I've taken all these classes for years, I've read hundreds of books, I've taken online classes, I've taken programs, I've been trained, I've been a consultant in 2 or 3 programs. They tell you to do something. You have to do something to get better. You have to write your affirmations, or you have to do your homework, or there are action steps that you have to take. And what do? We start these programs, and I think the statistics are 80% of the people that start self-improvement programs by themselves without somebody helping them along never finish it. And why do we do that? Because when they tell us to do something and we don't do it, we feel guilty, we feel like a failure, we feel like we're not disciplined. We're going to talk about that word discipline, because I don't like that word discipline, but there's a way to get what we want without having that clench your fist kind of discipline. And we don't want to feel that way, right? We don't want to feel guilty. So what do? We quit doing anything because we're not doing what they tell us to do, so we quit doing anything. I'm going to pull all these things together, but remember the universe is always growing. Remember that you're either expanding or you're contracting. And it's the natural order of things. If you plant a garden and you don't weed it, the universe takes over. The universe takes over for us. The universe is always expanding and growing. It's literally, the universe in size is growing. There's new planets. Well, we are part of the universe. And if we would let our natural selves take over, we're going to be doing this expanding and growing just like the universe. I mean, it takes over everything. I just love Ancient Aliens. I love to watch it. And there's an episode where they have an engineer talk about how that if you have a skyscraper, how long it takes for nature to take over the skyscraper. And they say in about 1,000 years, the skyscraper will be totally done, totally gone, because nature, small weeds, small trees end up, the moisture in the atmosphere ends up rusting it. And the nature takes over it. We need to understand that we're part of that natural rhythm, and that once we let our natural selves take over, we don't need the discipline. We just get in that stream and we're going to float downhill. We are enough just the way we are. You are enough just the way you are. You are. When we understand who we really are, we talked about that last time. If you don't identify yourself as a male or a female, or what your occupation is, or what your role in the family is, and you understand that you're a spiritual being and you came down here to have a human experience, we are enough just the way we are. And our natural default is well-being. Our natural default is abundance, it's growth, and it's joy. And so why don't we all have that? Why don't we have everything we want? Well, we've been taught from a very early age, we have been conditioned. There are programs running in our heads that we have been taught to our parents and our school systems and our culture. And they were taught the same thing by their parents. And it goes back literally ad nauseum. What you have been taught from 0 to 6 years old, and even prior to being born, your mind is in alpha waves, I think it is. And that means that you are extremely suggestible. And those first 6 years, we can have these little babies, these little people, give them so much positive information. But those first 6 years, that their conscious mind is open and they are absorbing anything we tell them. And what do we tell them? We tell them, you got to try harder. You're not good enough. You got to do better in school. You got to sit still. You got to mind. Not that they don't necessarily have to mind, but we have been taught that you have to do something else to get approval from somebody. You have to, you're not enough. You're not pretty enough. You're not smart enough. You're not rich enough. And that has been our conditioning since we were little. They tell you have to do something different to have more, to be more. Let's go back to my premise. If you got to be happy with where you are, but you also want something more. So we've been taught that something more is something outside of ourselves. Like we would need to accomplish more. We need to accumulate more. We need to hoard more. But what if more isn't out there? More isn't tangible or materialistic. More is in here. Now stay with me. I know we all want money in our bank. I want money in my bank account too. I know we all want big houses or beautiful houses in a beautiful setting. We want spouses and children, and that is our material world. And that is what we're here for. That is what we're here to get. But if we understand that the more that we're wanting when we want more, when we feel that yearning, it's more joy, it's more freedom, it's more clarity, it's more peace of mind. And we think those material things are going to give us that. If we have a lot of money in the bank, we think we're going to be secure and we're going to be free. What we need to understand is we need to get to the feelings first of freedom and security and clarity and peace of mind. That's the more that we're looking for. That's the empty space that we're trying to fill up with getting promotions or making more money or getting a bigger house, because I know I was there. It's the space inside of us that we need to fill up. So there's different reasons why we want more. If you want more because you think there's not enough, if you want more because you think there's scarcity or lack, that's wanting more based on fear. If you want more because you don't think you're enough, if you want more because you think you're lacking, well, that wanting more is just based on an unawareness of the natural laws of the universe. And that's what I really want us to focus on this time. If we remember, we don't know what we don't know. So if we don't know our true nature, if we don't know how that if we just get into the natural flow of our lives, that nature's going to take over, then we can't use it. So let's go back to why we don't feel like we're enough. That we take programs, although take my program, but that we take programs and they tell us to write affirmations till we're blue in the face, and they tell us we have so much of a reading list, and they tell us to get an accountability partner. They tell us that we have to do things. And if we don't do things, we're a failure. I want to talk to you this hour about it's not doing anything different. It's learning the information that's necessary, the natural laws of the universe, that we're going to start thinking and feeling something different. I am not good at being told what to do. One of the programs I took is we had to read a chapter in a book. We had to get an accountability partner. We had to read a chapter in a book every day for 30 days. And it literally took an hour. And the chapter was persistence. And I guess it was supposed to be teaching us persistence, but it just pissed me off. I just hated it. So for what frequency was I on? And my poor accountability partner, I just love her, and she stuck in there with us. If you missed a day, you were supposed to start all over in 30 days from that day. I do not take direction well. And I was pissed, and I was on a really bad frequency. That is not what we need to do. Persistence is not what we need to learn. What we need to learn is to get to a joyful place where persistence isn't necessary, where you are so excited about doing action steps. You're going to take action steps, but you're going to take action steps when you get into the right frequency. Because when you do that, that's when the magic starts. So you might take these programs, or you're reading these books, or you're not even doing that, and you're trying to make yourself better. You're trying to get 2 jobs and pay off debt. And bless your heart, I think that's wonderful. But what we end up doing is beating ourselves up. We beat ourselves up because we're not good enough. We haven't done what we're supposed to be doing. So I'm going to tell you to take off your gloves, get out of the ring, and quit beating yourself up. Because we're going to learn a completely different way to do that. We have been taught that our self-worth, because we have been taught certain things to believe. Everything hinges on our belief system. So our parents have taught us this, our teachers have taught us this, our cultures have taught us this. And let me read you this. We're going to learn that belief in a feeling is based on a thought we keep thinking that we've been told it's true. A belief is just a thought that you keep thinking over and over again. You've internalized this thought into our subconscious mind. We're going to talk about that in a little while too. And you think it's true. It's not necessarily true. It's true because you've been told this over and over again. That's one of my favorite quotes from Abraham Hicks. If you don't know who Esther Hicks is or Abraham Hicks, get on YouTube, watch him. Oh my gosh, I love him. I literally think, and I don't know what pronoun to use, if it's she or they, but it's a consciousness that Esther Hicks channels, and it's not that weird, but she's wonderful. And it is, beliefs are just a thought that you keep thinking. And the number one lie that we have been taught is that we're not enough, that we have to do more, be more, make more, that we're not enough. And I don't want you to do more things. I want you to learn to think and feel consciously thoughts and feelings that serve you, that get you in a frequency that is going to get you to the life of your dreams. You are enough. We were all born enough. We're going to talk about beliefs, and one of my very favorite subjects on beliefs is, it's a story, it's a metaphor, and it's called the Golden Buddha. And the Golden Buddha basically is a story about, I'm going to do this because I don't think my light is bright. Okay. There's a small village in China, and they have this large Buddha made of gold, and it's their prized possession, and they literally worship it, and they literally, that's their most precious possession. And they hear that an invading army is going to come in, and they don't want the invading army to plunder this golden Buddha. So they take cement and mud and sticks and dirt, and they put it all over this golden Buddha. So by the time that the army gets here, it just looks like a crummy concrete statue. And it works. They don't think anything of it, and they don't take it. Well, the army stays for years, and the people that knew this secret, that had done this hiding of the golden Buddha, they all die, and nobody in the village knows this story. And sooner or later, the army leaves, and nobody remembers that this is a golden Buddha. Well, one day, a young monk is worshiping at the feet of the golden Buddha, and a piece of the cement falls off, and he looks up and he sees this glitter of gold. And he calls the townspeople in, and they sit there and they start taking off all of this cement and mud, the things that have covered the true identity of this Buddha. Well, that is a metaphor for our lives. We were born golden. We were born with this amazing spirit. We were born knowing that we could do anything. But out of love, our parents, our teachers, our cultures have put on mud and concrete. They wanted to protect us. They tell us these facts that they think are true, that there's not enough to go around, that you've got to try harder, that you're not enough the way you are. They've put these things on our golden selves, and everybody's forgotten that the gold is underneath there. We can learn just by thinking different thoughts that we can take this covering off of our golden selves, and we're really able to get to the very next level of our lives. Belief is the foundation for our entire lives. We don't even think it's up for discussion. We think that they are set in stone, what our beliefs are, that they are not modifiable. We don't know what we don't know. We don't know that a belief is just a thought that we've been told to think over and over again. And it's like fish in water. Fish don't know that they're in water. That's all they know. We think our belief system is true because that's all we know. We don't understand that it's just something that we have been taught. It's been conditioned into us since birth. They're called paradigms. Paradigms are a set of habits that we just continue to do over and over again. It controls what we do. This conditioning creates our belief system. We're told certain things to believe, and that's what, up until the time that our conscious mind is open to suggestions, and that's what we think should happen. So our beliefs interpret our everyday lives. Our actions are based on our belief system. And then the world responds to us based on our actions. And I'd like to share a story that I share when I teach my class. I grew up in a small town. I grew up on the wrong side of the tracks. Literally, there was a set of railroad tracks that went through the town, and I was on the wrong side of the railroad tracks. And we weren't that rich, and we had everybody in the neighborhood. Didn't matter what color, race, religion, we all played together. We all grew up together. I was never taught there was any difference in anybody. We were friends. Everybody were friends in high school. I mean, this is my perception. I suppose other people could have the same perception, but my belief was, hey, everybody's the same. Everybody's friendly. Everybody's my friend. Everybody did stuff together. I was never taught prejudice that I knew of. Obviously, we're like fish in water. We don't know what we're taught, but everybody was just the same. And I went to college my freshman year, and I went to KU, yay, Rock Chalk Jayhawk. I got a ride to Kansas City, which is about 45 minutes from Lawrence, which is where KU is, with a friend, and the friend was only going as far as the Plaza. The Plaza is an amazing shopping center in Kansas City now, but back in the early 70s, it was a little dicey. It wasn't, had a lot of crime, wasn't that safe. And they dropped me off at the Plaza, and I have no idea why I did this. I decided to take a bus because I was going to visit my aunt and uncle, and they lived kind of close to the Plaza. I decided I was going to take a bus from the Plaza to my aunt and uncle's apartment. I had never taken a bus in my life. I was from a small town, and I'm very proud of myself. I find out where the bus stop is, and I look and see what bus I'm supposed to get, and how it's going to take me close to where my aunt and uncle live. And I get on the bus, and I sit down, and I look over, and I say to this older lady, I say, I've never ridden a bus before. Can you tell me how I tell the bus driver where I'm supposed to get off? And can you help me? And here's the address. And can you help me figure out how to get off? And she goes, well, honey, I sure can. Hey, George, bus driver, this little lady, she doesn't know how to get off a bus. So this is where she needs to get off. So is that okay if we get off there? Make sure you stop there. And he turns around and he says, oh, sure. And there's all these people, and they kind of hear me, and they're going, you've never ridden a bus before? And we all start talking. Okay, it's not a long drive. It's probably 20 blocks, somewhere around there. And I said, yeah, I'm from a small town. I've never been on a bus. And they all say, okay, we'll take care of you. And we get up to where I'm supposed to get off, and I'm still like 3 blocks from my aunt and uncle's house. And the bus driver stands up and says, do you guys mind if we turn here and go 3 blocks down here? Because I don't want to walk in at night by herself, and we want to drop her up. And think, oh no, that's fine, that's great. Let's do that. And so they take me down there, and they're so friendly to me, and they're waving and clapping, and they're so happy I get off. Okay, they were all black. Never entered my mind that would have been a problem. They responded to my frequency of, I needed help, I was sincere, I was innocent. I was putting out really good vibes, and I got really good vibes back. The world responds to what vibration you put out. I'm not telling anybody to do that. I'm just telling you at that point in time, my vibration was such that all I got was help and love, and they were waving at me. And then I get up to my aunt and uncle's house, and they go crazy. How could you do that? Didn't even enter my mind that should not be a problem. I just want you to know that the world responds to what you believe and how you act. Our belief system establishes your truth, or what you think is true, but it is based on a constant barrage of faulty information. Maybe not all of it's faulty, but some of it could be faulty. I want to read you some quotes. One of them this is by Albert Einstein, because I love putting science in with everything. The most important question you can ever ask is, do you believe the universe is a friendly place? So he must think our belief in what the universe is makes a difference, because that's the most important question we can ever ask ourselves. This is another one from the Bible, Mark 11:24. Therefore, I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. Belief is the one word that goes, there's something called the Perennial Philosophy. Aldous Huxley coined the phrase. He figured out what all the religions in the world have in common, and he called it the Perennial Philosophy. And one of the things that all the tenets have in common is that this belief that if you believe in something with all your heart, it's going to happen. I want to give you some examples of, you're going to say, yeah, that's not true, because there are facts, and facts are absolutely that, and we have to believe in the facts. So here are some examples. It's 1491. The world is flat. It looks flat. Mom told me it was flat. The leaders have established it's flat. It's logical that it's flat. I believe the world is flat, and that is the truth. So here's a spoiler alert. The world is not flat. It was just a faulty set of facts that they knew at the time that they made a judgment. It's a belief based on some faulty facts. So here's another one. So 1890, man cannot fly, he can't get off the ground. No wings, can't flap his arms, nobody can fly, that's the fact, period. So your imagination is limited to ground travel and how much distance there is it takes you to get somewhere. You don't even know it's up for discussion. Your imagination is limited by your beliefs because you don't think that happens. And then the last one, 1908, women are sweet little creatures, but they're not smart enough to vote or own land. Okay, I'm not even sure what a funny thing is to say about that, except we've come a long way, baby. So whether it is a misunderstanding of geography or of aerodynamics or was cultural conditioning. The things that we have thought in the past were true are not true. They were beliefs based on only a small set of facts that we knew at the time. And this same dynamic plays out in your life every single day. It plays out in every action you take, which means it plays out in how the universe responds back to you because of the frequency that you're on and the actions that you take. I want to introduce you to one of the characters in my book, The Law of Attraction, available on Amazon. One of the biggest lies that we have been told that we think we believe is that there's not enough to go around, that abundance is something we have to work really hard for, and the vast majority of us are not going to get it, and we're not going to get it because, it's just not fair. So I'd like to introduce you to Joe Somebody and read a little bit from my book. Joe Somebody was born into a nice middle-class family who loved him very much. Because they loved him so much, they wanted to keep him safe. And because they wanted to keep him safe, they did what all parents do that love their children. Taught him about life by teaching him the rules their parents taught them. Don't do that. You'll put your eye out. Clean your plate. There are children starving in China. Put that back. We can't afford it. Put that up. You can't shave the cat. Don't buy that. Money doesn't grow on trees. Don't jump off the roof because you'll break your neck. Pick something else because we're not made of money. And you can't have that because there's only so much to go around. All sound advice and based on Joe's parents' knowledge of life. He then went to school and learned even more. He learned to regurgitate information. He learned to quit daydreaming. He learned to think the way the old textbooks taught him to think. He learned to pick a trade to fall back on because dreams don't pay the bills. And he learned you must work hard to make money. Quite simply, he learned to settle. Joe went to college to learn a trade because dreams don't pay bills. He got married, bought a small house, and had 2 wonderful children. He loved his children very much, so he taught them the rules of life. He scrimped and saved because money doesn't grow on trees. He wanted to buy his family nice things and travel with his kids, but he couldn't afford that. Joe still dreamed his childhood dreams, but he never pursued them because dreams don't pay the bills, and he wasn't made of money. Joe settled. Joe spent much of his time worrying about money and the lack of it. His lack of money consumed most of his time, and he tried to make his money match his month. He knew he had to work hard to make more money, so he worked harder. Joe loved his family very much and was thankful for what he had. He felt guilty for wanting more because there was only so much to go around. He never jumped off a roof or broke his neck. He didn't put an eye out, and he never shaved a cat. Joe couldn't afford the things he wanted because he knew money was tight and didn't grow on trees. And he put things back because he hadn't worked harder to get more money. Joe had learned his lessons well. Years marched by, and Joe got old and sick. As he lay on his deathbed, reflecting on his life of hard work, of scrimping and saving to get by, and of unfulfilled dreams, a stranger burst in. The stranger held an envelope and breathlessly panted, "Joe, I've been meaning to tell you about this. You have a savings account with millions of dollars in it. It's yours for the taking. You can do anything you want. It's always been available for you to access. Sorry you didn't know about it any sooner. Here you go." And Joe sat up and his dying breath said, "Well, that sucks. What I wouldn't have given to known about this earlier." And I'm here to inform you that you do have an account containing untold riches that is available at any time. I will show you exactly how to get it, the name and the location of the institution, and the account number, and then I'm going to hand you the keys. And that is, the keys are learning to control our mind and learning to control our emotion, learning to think differently, because abundance is our birthright. Abundance is not a 4-letter word. So I'm also going to read a little bit more from my book. This is from John 10:10 from the Bible. "I have come so they may have life and they may have it more abundantly." So we need to get the ground rules straight. We are leaving our preconceived notions of lack and unworthiness at the door. We all have them. I'm not good enough, pretty enough, smart enough, just fill in the blank. We need to kick off those preconceived notions like we do our shoes at that snotty friend's front door. You're going to come on a trek with me with an open mind and an open heart. First and foremost, abundance is not a four-letter word. It is not something to be hidden, apologized for, or whispered about. God does not want you to be poor, contrary to many organized institutions that have led you to believe otherwise. We were born to have abundance. We are so afraid to look abundance in the eye. Well, I'll take just a little, you say. Can't be selfish, just enough to get by. You are not made in the image of God to just get by. Did God, the source, the universe, make enough to just get by? Did he stop at creating just one star and say, okay, I guess I have enough light to read a book and to stay warm? No. He wanted to see amazing galaxies and pet amazing and animals and talk to amazing angels. He didn't stop at mediocre. He demanded abundance in all things, and so should you. And for you to be able to appreciate all of what this amazing universe offers, you must have a currency that allows you to afford these opportunities. It is not selfish or evil to want to experience this wonderful world, to play all the wonderful games, and to create a wonderful life, until you understand that abundance is your birthright. To love and to participate in all aspects of this planet you call home, you will never claim all the abundance that is in your account and that will allow you to have a fulfilling life. Claiming abundance does not mean taking something away from somebody else. It doesn't mean competing for a limited supply with some having more and leaving some with less. When you understand abundance, you understand there is an unlimited supply of energy, and you will discover how to create it. And genuine abundance, and we talked about how important genuine is. You need to find out what is authentic to you. Means defining what an abundant life means to you and spending your currency on the things that you value, so you don't end up spending your energy on inconsequential dribble like the majority of us do. We buy things, we don't need them. We buy them because I'm an impulse buyer, but we buy them because somehow we think it's going to make us feel better. We need to become aware that beliefs are only opinions of inaccurate findings of facts. Some of them may be true at the moment, but they are fluid. They can be modified. I love Lynn McTaggart. I love her book, The Field. Here's another good story about a coincidence. This was years ago, and the Da Vinci Code had just come out. We went to Barnes & Noble to get an Audible, because you didn't even have Audible books, to get our, whatever it was, CD player, so that we could listen to the Da Vinci Code. I went over to the alternative section, which is always in the back corner of all the stores, and I wanted to get something to read. And I'm huge in the fact that there's a Barnes & Noble angel that kind of shows me what to do. And there was a book that was sticking out. All the others, were flat. And this book was sticking out, almost falling off the shelf. And I'm telling you, some books have fallen off the shelf for me before that I needed to read. And it was this, The Field by Lynn McTaggart. Never heard of it before. I love science, so I was going through it. So I buy the book, and we're listening to the Da Vinci Code. And as we're listening to the Da Vinci Code, I don't know, halfway through it, it talks about The Field by Lynn McTaggart, that some of the information that they got in the Da Vinci Code came from The Field. We had just purchased both of those that day. So I knew that the universe was telling me to read this. I want to read to you what she says, because you guys are going to say, no, there are things that are true. Science, there's things that science can prove, and we can't believe anything unless science tells us it's true. So there are some actual beliefs. So let me read you what she says. It's in the preface of her book, The Field. We tell ourselves stories in order to live. Of all the stories, it is the science ones that most define us. These stories create our perception of the universe and how it operates. Although we perceive science to be the ultimate truth, science is finally just a story told in installments. We aren't done with the book yet. This is just the installment that we know right now that's true and correct. And there are some truths that ancient masters have told us for millennia that science is now able to prove. It's such an amazing time to be alive. We don't need to discover what we believe to change it. We don't need 30 years of therapy. Not that I don't think therapy is a good thing, but we need to define what we want to believe, not discover what we do believe. We want to define that we want to believe that there's an abundance, that everyone can have it, that we're part of this universe, that our emotions are a frequency that get us to whatever we're on that frequency on. We can learn to change our frequency. William James, he was in the late 1800s. He was a professor, and he was really one of the very first people to come up with the science of psychology. He was the first one that actually taught psychology courses. He says, the world we see that seems so insane, which is so appropriate for right now, is the result of a belief system that is not working. To perceive the world differently, we must be willing to change our belief system. Let the past slip away, extend our sense of now. Now is so important. Now is the only time we can ever do anything. And dissolve the fear in our minds. He says what we see around us is what we believe. And if we change our belief system, we're going to be able to change what our environment is. We have to become aware. There's that word I love, awareness. You don't know what you don't know. We need to become aware that we can change our beliefs. We need to pick ones that serve us. We need to start dreaming big. We need to decide on a big dream, understand that abundance is real and necessary. It's our birthright. We're not being selfish because there is an infinite amount of energy out there and thoughts and ideas that we can all implement to take our lives to the next level. We need to understand that happiness is required. We have to be on a better feeling thought, on a higher vibration to get to another level. Understand that beliefs are not absolute truths. It's a story told in installments. They're only conditioned responses. It's a thought that we keep thinking. And this is hard because concepts swirl together, because we're going to talk about setting a dream, but a dream is only based on what you believe. And if you don't believe, you got this glass ceiling of belief. If you don't believe anything higher than that, then your dreams are stuck in this one area. So you need to understand that you can dream a little bit higher, use your imagination for a little bit more. You need to understand that we got to change our belief system to get a higher dream. We must desire to have a higher dream, and that's based on a belief system. So we've got to grow our belief system a little bit, and then our dreams go up a little bit. This changing our belief system does not happen overnight. There are two ways to change our belief system. One is an intensive emotional impact. And that is if something completely out of the ordinary happens. You have a near-death experience and you understand there's an entire other realm out there. Or you have an out-of-body experience. Or like 9/11 was an intense emotional impact. It changed the way we thought about the world. Most of the time those are negative. They don't have to be. But an intense emotion can change your belief system like that. The other way to change our belief system is a constant spaced repetition of a feeling, of a new feeling that we want to claim as our own. And we're going to internalize that into our subconscious mind. And when we learn to internalize that into our subconscious mind, which we're going to do in subsequent programs, that's going to change our belief system. And once you have a higher belief and you can dream a little bit higher and you realize that you can attain that belief, then you're higher up on the mountain, you can see a little farther, you can believe a little bit more, and you can set a little bit higher dream. You're going to have no idea how it's going to happen. I had no idea what was going to happen this last year. And when I learned just to be in joy and get out of the guilt and get out of the discipline and get out of the reading the stupid persistence chapter, that's when my life turned out. And I didn't know how to do it, but I believed that's what was supposed to happen. I believed that it was going to happen. We take baby steps to get to new desires, but I want you to get to a higher level where the baby step is the next natural thing for you to take. Because if you are in a vibration of guilt or requirements or discipline, or you're gritting your teeth and you're clenching your fist, you are walking through mud. And we all know how that is. You're walking through mud and you're patting yourself on the back because you're walking through mud. The baby steps come when you get a higher vibration and you see more coincidences. We're going to talk about the subconscious mind and how it's going to show us new coincidences once we start changing it. I love the Santa Claus movie with Tim Allen, and halfway through the little elf says, "You don't understand. Seeing is not believing. Believing is seeing." We have to believe something before we can see it, and that's down deep in our hearts. There's a whole bunch of quotes. I love to quote other people. This also comes from my book. The outer condition of a person's life will always be found to reflect their inner beliefs. What you see on the outside is just a reflection of what you believe. And that's what William James says. We need to come up with a different belief system. James Allen also said, "We think in secret and it comes to pass. Environment is but our looking glass." Our environment reflects what is inside of us. If we think there's lack and scarcity, because we've been told there's always lack and scarcity, that's what we're going to see in our environment. Man is what he believes. That's by Anton Chekhov, which is not the lieutenant from the Star Wars Star Trek movie. J.M. Barrie, who wrote Peter Pan, said, "The moment you doubt whether you can fly, you cease forever to be able to do it." You have to believe that you can fly. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "People only see what they are prepared to see." And I love this story. I don't know how many of you have seen What the Bleep Do We Know, but I love it. And there's a story that they tell in that movie. Columbus has just landed, and he gets off the small boats that take him from the big boats, and they just landed on shore, and the Indians come to greet him. And the natives say to Columbus, "Where did you come from?" And he says, "Well, we came from those big ships. They brought us from another country." The natives could not see the ships. It was not in their wheelhouse. They were not prepared to see it. They were never taught that was possible. There are so many things in our lives we don't see because we've never taught that they're possible. And finally, when the natives saw that the tide was being changed, that something was changing the way the tide came in, and they traced it back, they could finally start seeing these big boats. Mahatma Gandhi said, "Man becomes what he believes himself to be." If I keep on saying to myself, I cannot do a certain thing, it is possible that I may end up becoming really incapable of doing it. On the contrary, if I shall have the belief I can do it, I shall surely acquire the capability to do it, even if I had not had that ability at the beginning. And Henry Ford, one of my favorite quotes is, "Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right." I don't want to tell you in this program or in my book or in my program that you have to do more to be more, to become enough. I want you to understand that you're already enough just exactly the way you are. What you need is some more awareness, some more information, some more education of how nature works, how the natural laws work, how we can use them to implement them into our lives. And to do that, we need to internalize this information. And to do that, we do need to read a lot and do constant spaced repetition of a new idea. Because once we remember that we were born golden, and that these beliefs is just the mud and the cement and the dirt that was put over us by our loving parents, because that's what they were told to do. to protect us, we understand that it's there all along. And the key is your emotions and the frequency that you're on. Albert Einstein said, everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get it. It is no other way. This is not philosophy. This is physics. Quantum physics now proves that our consciousness actually controls what our observation of something actually controls how it happens. We just need to learn how to change our frequency to match the vibration of what we want in our lives. And it isn't hard. We do have to get some new knowledge if we aren't there yet, and we do have to do it on a consistent, constant basis. Because just saying you believe something new, you go, okay, I believe it. It doesn't work. It has to be deep down inside of you. We have to literally change that subconscious mind. Our subconscious mind controls what we do 95% of the day. It's on autopilot. And that subconscious mind was conditioned by other people up in the time we were 6 or 7. We can do that by constant spaced repetition of a new thought with this amazing feeling. And because our conscious mind, you know, you read a book and you go, I love this book, and it only controls what we do 5% of the day. It does not stay in your conscious mind forever. You have to make a decision to take it out of the conscious mind and internalize it. I don't know how many times I love, you know, the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And I've been to like 3 different seminars that lasted 3 days apiece. So I should know what 21 habits by now. And I could never wrap my head around all of the habits because I did not internalize the message. I did not internalize what it was telling me. The world, the universe responds to what you vibrate. It does not respond to what you say. And we have to learn to vibrate to get our frequency to a different level. So when I offer some actions you need to take, and we do need to take actions, but we need to get our frequency up to another level and take inspired action when we're in that kind of a frequency, instead of dictated or disciplined or persistent action, because that's a feeling, right? Persistence, and I'm not doing it, and I feel guilty. That's a frequency. And if you're on that frequency, when you're taking action, you're just going to get more frustrated. We need to learn to take our lives to a higher level. Remember, we're not necessarily going to go from despondent to absolute joy immediately, but we can learn to take it out incrementally. And when you do, you're going to vibrate on a different level. You're going to vibrate with different things. You're going to see different opportunities in your life. You just need to remember who you really are. You're that spiritual being that came down here for a human experience. You've got that gold on you. You don't have to do anything else to be worthy. You already are worthy. Remember, grass doesn't struggle to grow. It's not out there. Grass naturally grows. It takes over everything. We don't have to struggle. We just have to realize that some of the beliefs that we hold, you know, are keeping us from going in the natural flow of the universe. When I kind of found this ingredient of the recipe that I teach, that we have to get to joy and not discipline and not persistence and not anybody else telling you what to do, because that just makes me mad. I just decided I was going to, about a year ago, all I was going to do is focus on positive things. You know, I listen to Abraham Hicks a lot. I love YouTube videos that talk about this stuff. I read constantly. I read amazing books by amazing teachers. I just want to be with people that want to talk about these things. I listen to pretty music. I try to turn off the news. I watch it more than I should, but if that ain't a downer, I don't know what it is. But I just decided I'm not going to punish myself if I don't do certain things. I'm going to try to find a way to feel better in every single aspect of my life. And I have a great 7-day challenge on my website, lawyofattraction.com. It's free. It's the magic of intention. And every day I give you a new word that I want you to concentrate on. And I tell you to use your Palm Pilot. You're going to write it on your palm, just the one word. And you will be amazed how if you pay attention to that one word and just take that one action that I'm offering, not telling you you have to do, you will be in a different vibration. You will act differently to people. People act differently to you. It's amazing. It just spirals up. So let's review. Belief is just a thought that you keep thinking. It is not necessarily true. You can change your beliefs. You can think of beliefs that are going to serve you. I am worthy. I can do that. There is abundance out there for me. I have the ability to do anything I want to do. Pick a new belief and start internalizing that feeling. I want you to start feeling how you are going to feel when your dream comes true. And I want you to feel it in the moment, in the now. That is the only connection to the divine, is when we're in the now. Constantly and consistently feeling this amazing feeling of how you're going to feel when you get that big goal. And we're going to have to use our imagination. I just watched a Hay House video, and it had Gregg Braden and Deepak Chopra. And I just love Gregg Braden. I read everything. And he was talking about prayer, and he says, the feeling is the prayer. We've been taught that prayer is you sit down and you close your eyes and you earnestly ask for something. You're praying for something. What the universe hears is, I don't have it. The universe does not hear your words. The universe feels the vibration you put off. And when you say, I want this, please give this to me, the vibration is, I don't have it. But if you so the feeling that you're feeling is the prayer that goes out to the universe. I don't have it. I'm sad. I need something. We need to learn that the feeling is the prayer, and the feeling that I want you to put out as many times a day, as constantly as you possibly can, is this feeling of abundance, is a higher feeling thought. That's the prayer. The feeling is the prayer. I love that. I love that I found that. The next step in evolution is never logical, because logic is based on known facts, like the world is flat. They're not necessarily true. We have to think outside the box. We have to push that envelope. We have to take everything to the next level. And it's not based on logical facts. You're going to say some of the stuff I'm telling you is not logical. And I'm telling you that we have known this for millennia, that your inner self knows this, that you remember this, that you remind yourself this is true. The next step in evolution is going to take us to a higher level, and it's not based on the facts that we know now. I told you about that I love the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and one of the things that they tell you to do is to sharpen the saw. And remember, I don't take direction well, so I don't want to do it. But sharpening the saw is, you're supposed to get up early, and you're supposed to read, and you're supposed to exercise, and you're supposed to meditate, which are all wonderful things. But when I would do it, once again, it was discipline. It was clenching my fist. I've got to get up. Sharpen the saw. It even sounds sharp, like the saw. Well, I have come up with one habit, just one habit I want you to do. I call it my joy habit. And I call mine fluff the pillow, which my husband doesn't like, but I don't care, because I want you to feel like you're fluffing your pillow all day. That's the emotion. That's the feeling I want you to put out to the universe. And my acronym for this joyful habit is I am me. The words I am are so powerful. At the very beginning, they mean pure consciousness. They mean the universe. They mean God. They also mean you. I am. So the acronym is I am me. And I stands for increase for everyone. Leave everyone with the impression of increase. That's one of my, on my magic of intention, my 7-day habits. Open the door, smile at them, send out good energy, compliment them, earnest compliments, do something that makes people feel good. And I wouldn't necessarily go up and tap somebody on the shoulder and just sit there and smile at them, because they're going to think you're crazy. But you're going to learn, and when this is top of mind, you're going to learn there's so many opportunities you have to leave everyone with the impression of increase. So that's I, and then the M, A-M, stands for A is appreciation. If you can find things all day long to appreciate, that gets you in a higher level. M is for mindful. Mindful is staying in the now. Mindful is living within the intention of appreciating what's going on right now. Not worried about the past, not fearful about the future. There's so much wasted energy that we spend on things we can't control. The only thing that we can control is now. So that's being mindful of the now. And the last word is me, M-E. M is for meditation every day. It's not hard. It does not hurt. I promise you. Just quiet your mind. That's how you connect to your higher self. And the last is E, and that's exercise emotion. And that's what we're talking about. I want you to try to exercise that emotion muscle and pick a higher, a better feeling thought. Constantly try to think of a better feeling thought to get in a better frequency. So my fluff the pillow every day is I am me. And if you can remember that and get through the day with that, I think that changes your life. Well, we're at the end of another, yay, let me do this, program. And I want to thank you for joining me on this journey. And don't forget to go to my website, lawyerofattraction.com, and sign up for my 7-day challenge, The Magic of Intention. My book is available at Amazon, The Lawyer and the Law of Attraction. It's also on my website. I have a brand new program that came out that's on my website. I'd love for you to sign up and take it. I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be fluffing your pillow. I would love to have you join me on that. I'd love for you to write me at paula@lawyerofattraction.com and give me some ideas for other shows, comment on what we're doing. I will see you next time on the next episode of The Lawyer of Attraction. And I appreciate you being on this journey with me. And I want to leave you with this, one of my favorite sayings by Ram Dass. We are all just walking each other home. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you for joining Paula Kidd Casey on Lawyer of Attraction radio show. For more information about Paula programs and her book, please visit www.lawyerofattraction.com. Until next week, may you experience the magic of manifesting genuine abundance.